Let me see how close I get here. You have knowledge and experience. You have a product or a service that can really help people. But then you suddenly realized that you have to be a personal brand, but you're a behind the scenes person. An introvert, possibly. An overthinker, definitely. You want people to trust you, but you also don't want to feel like you're performing your personality, or worse, somebody else's personality. And every authenticity hack that you try just makes you end up sounding fake or like somebody else, and you end up sounding less authentic. Sound familiar? Been there. And that is when I realized what we're facing: the authenticity trap. Hi, I am Daryn, a Writers Guild Award-winning creator and producer who helps creators and entrepreneurs use storytelling to build a brand your viewers want to binge. I've been making content for YouTube and other platforms for over 15 years, but believe it or not, I never wanted to be a personal brand. I was a filmmaker, I was a writer, I was a producer, and I built a 6-figure content business. I won some awards, but if you want to grow a business, YouTube is the #1 platform for consumer trust. People come to YouTube because they trust it, because of the authenticity. Now, here's the thing. I will bet that you've been told you need to be more authentic to build your brand. So you try to be more authentic. But if you are an overthinker like me, you probably think about it a lot and you end up spiraling. Here is the irony. If you're trying to be authentic, does that make it not authentic? Is that irony? I don't know if irony is worded as a question. How can you be authentic but also not be trying to be authentic? Am I overthinking this? If you're an overthinker too, I'm going to make this a logical thing, logical. But first, let me define authenticity for you because it may not be what you think. Authenticity means staying true to your values. Guess what? You can stay true to your values and still plan your content. You can stay true to your values and use a script. You can stay true to your values and choose your emotional boundaries. You can be strategic while being authentic if your strategy remains true to your values. That is authentic. But here is the authenticity trap. When you try to be authentic, you focus on perception instead of presence. There is a difference between being authentic and trying to be perceived as being authentic. That is the authenticity trap. For instance, over-explaining your intentions. Something like, I just want to be real with you guys. Now we do that because we're self-conscious probably, but usually it triggers that you aren't just being real, that you thought about being real, and now you're doing what you thought would be perceived as real, instead of just being real and sharing what is on your mind. Also, confession does not necessarily equal connection. Vulnerability is wonderful, but if you're confessing for the sake of confessing because you saw some guru list 10 storytelling hooks you should use and you thought that would be the key to your success, it's probably not going to come off as genuine. Or if you're like, I need to do a confessional video today because those 2 creators did a confessional video and it blew up, then you're not doing it authentically. Instead of choosing to share a personal story because this story can genuinely transform someone else's life or impact their life. You see the difference? Instead of overthinking what is working for another creator, you think about how your story can help your viewer. Now, here's something unexpected. You may already know in your soul that trying too hard can seem fake and it erodes trust, but so does intentional messiness, performing imperfection. And so if you're like, okay, I'm not making the sales I need to make, so I need to be relatable, so I'm going to tell this story of struggle just to make sales. That is performing imperfection. If you're like, let me drop this story of failure in my backstory because it makes people buy, that is performing imperfection. But if you're like, I'm telling this story of struggle because this particular story of struggle can solve this problem in someone else's life, that feels different. If you share something vulnerable in a video and then you're like, oh, that worked, so I'm just going to confess messy stuff in every video from now on, it's probably not going to come off as genuine. It all starts to feel pretty manufactured, like your vulnerability is on a scoreboard. And that is probably not your intention, you're just overthinking it. Authenticity is not about showing everything. It's about showing what's relevant. Now, there are definitely niches and topics where vulnerability is baked into everything you talk about, for instance, anything mental health related, but that vulnerability is authentic. Okay, so now you're like, my brain hurts, Daryn. Being authentic is literally impossible. You said that I was going to stop overthinking, and now I am questioning everything. Well, it's not about not thinking at all. It's about thinking about the right things. Trust comes from 3 C's: clarity, consistency, and congruence. Yes, I did say congruence, and it is a word that you definitely don't use like ever, but it is appropriate here, and I'll explain. But before I do that, I do just want to mention that I have an all-in-one storytelling toolkit that can help you carve out your narrative. So if you need help with that, I will put the link in my description. Here is a breakdown of the 3 C's, and I promise you it is simple. The first C is for clarity, and that is what you stand for. If your audience can't summarize what you stand for after 2 videos, they probably can't trust you. Trust starts with a clear point of view. And that is why I teach founders and creators to stop thinking like influencers and start thinking like showrunners. Because a showrunner builds an experience. You should be a clear leading character with a clear motivation, a clear purpose. Your channel is really a 2-person conversation with your viewer. And for them to feel like you're someone they want to hang with, they need to know your point of view. The second C is for consistency, and that is how you show up. Here is where you probably make a mistake. It is where I made a mistake too. Consistency in this case is not about how often you post or what days you post on. That's what I thought when I first returned to YouTube. It means showing up with the same character, the same emotional tone, the same storytelling rhythm, the same core theme, so your audience knows what to expect from you. Consistency of character and conflict. Now, if you have no idea where to start with that, I recommend starting with defining your creator archetype. Instead of looking to other creators and trying to copy them, I say to start with archetypes. The 5 creator archetypes that I use are the visionary, the underdog, the problem solver, the rebel, and the sage. You can also be a mix of archetypes, kind of like your sun and your moon energies. Now, if you haven't seen the video where I discuss this, I will link it in the end card in this video so you can watch it after this video. And the last C is congruence, the full experience you provide. Congruence is when your stories, your visuals, and your offers all align. When what you say and what you do and how you present it all match, people actually stop questioning your authenticity. Or vice versa, if they don't match, people actually start questioning your authenticity. So not only should you have consistency of character and a consistent conflict, it should feel authentic to how you present it, both visually and tonally. So we want to find your personal voice and a visual style that represents you. So here is the deal. Authenticity is just not something you can perform. It's something your audience feels when you are exactly who you say you are, when your beliefs are exactly what you present them to be. And if you're ready to build a brand people want to binge because they believe in it, I invite you to come join us in my community, the Storytelling Room. Until next time, keep creating and keep thinking like a showrunner.